Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. I've got to tell you, I was absolutely fascinated when I started digging into this topic. It's one of those technological leaps that honestly feels like science fiction. We're talking about a breakthrough that is transforming how we track our most vital signs, completely invisibly.
I mean, just imagine this for a second. What if your standard smartphone camera or the webcam sitting on your laptop right now could read your pulse just by looking at you? No messy wires, no sticky chest straps, no tight finger clips. Just you sitting there naturally, and a camera perfectly mapping out your heartbeat in real time. It sounds like a magic trick, but it's very real, and the science behind how it works is just incredible.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to break this down into 6 quick chapters. We'll start with the problem with current sensors, then look at the rPPG solution, mapping the face, how machine learning steps in, a really critical look at the diversity data gap, and finally, the future of heart monitoring.
Chapter 1. The problem with sensors. Limits of current tech.
To really grasp why contactless monitoring is such a massive game changer, we have to look at the friction of traditional hardware. ECG is the undisputed gold standard, right? It's highly accurate, but let's face it, it involves expensive equipment, it gets uncomfortable, and it's totally impractical for continuous everyday use. Even the basic stuff, like that oximeter clip they put on your finger, gets annoying after a while. And more importantly, contact sensors can actually cause harm. Think about premature babies in the neonatal ICU, or patients recovering from severe burns. Their skin is incredibly fragile, making contact-based monitoring genuinely risky. So there's this massive, growing medical need for continuous, completely comfortable monitoring that works just as well at home on your couch as it does in a hospital bed. Chapter 2. The rPPG solution. Contactless monitoring.
The technological leap that actually solves this physical problem is called Remote Photoplethysmography, or rPPG for short. Unlike the clunky old methods, rPPG estimates your heart rate using standard RGB cameras. Yes, the exact same kind of standard camera you already have on your phone. It works by detecting microscopic, incredibly subtle light changes reflecting off your skin as blood pulses through your face. It completely eliminates the need for physical contact, but still rivals traditional sensors. It is literally a magic trick using light and software.
What's really interesting here is watching the actual journey of this data. It all starts with extracting frames from a normal 30 frames per second video. The system isolates the face and pulls out the raw red, green, and blue color signals. Then it zeroes in on a specific region of interest, or ROI. From there, algorithms scrub out all the background noise, like moving shadows or room lighting changes, leaving behind a clean, filtered rPPG signal that maps perfectly to a heartbeat.
Chapter 3. Mapping the face. Finding the best ROIs.
Now, the camera can't just look anywhere. Researchers quickly figured out that specific facial patches are absolute gold mines for capturing stable signals. When looking at the analysis across 70 different studies, you can see this massive focus on the forehead, used in nearly a quarter of all methods, and the cheeks, used in about 22%. Meanwhile, the nose and chin, they are almost never used.
Let's break down exactly where the camera is looking. These are the top 5 most effective regions of interest. You've got the glabella, which is that flat space right between your eyebrows, the upper and lower medial forehead, and the left and right molar regions, better known as your upper cheeks. And the science gets incredibly precise here. They're calculating the exact number of pixels to sample and the specific skin thickness. For example, cheek skin thickness is measured at around 1,086 micrometers. So, what's the biological secret here? It's actually pretty simple. Larger, flat areas with thinner skin and higher blood perfusion give the absolute most reliable pulse readings. Thinner skin and strong blood flow mean those tiny color pulses are way easier for the camera to catch. Plus, flat areas like the forehead don't catch as many annoying light reflections, and they're usually free of facial hair, which can totally block the signal.
Chapter 4. Machine learning steps in. Handling motion and noise.
As brilliant as this biological mapping is, there is a catch. Humans move. We talk, we nod, the sun goes behind a cloud. Let's trace how the algorithms evolved to handle that messy reality. Step 1 was early traditional methods. They relied on manual math and basic noise reduction, usually just staring at a single facial patch. They were computationally cheap, sure, but they broke the second you moved your head. Step 2 brought the machine learning upgrade. Enter convolutional neural networks. These let the software automatically learn complex patterns, handling motion artifacts beautifully. Finally, step 3, multi-ROI combinations. Instead of relying on just one patch of skin, Modern algorithms divide the face into dozens of smaller subregions and combine them all simultaneously for maximum robustness.
And this brilliantly illustrates the payoff of that evolution. If you look at the error rates measured in beats per minute against the number of tracked regions, you'll see it starts out pretty high on the left, but follow that curve down. As the system tracks more patches simultaneously, the error rate absolutely plummets, dropping to under 1 single beat per minute on major datasets.
But there's a limit. The magic sweet spot they found? 63. Taking around 63 specific, smaller regions of interest simultaneously hits the lowest possible error. If you push it higher and divide the face into hundreds of patches, you hit a wall of diminishing returns, basically just burning up your device's processing power for zero extra benefit.
Chapter 5. The Diversity Data Gap. Addressing Dataset Bias. Now, to impartially understand this tech, we absolutely have to look at its current limitations. A major systematic review of 70 studies found a really glaring gap in the underlying data. To quote the researchers directly, most datasets either lack explicit reporting of participants' skin tones or primarily include lighter-skinned individuals.
This is incredibly important for 3 distinct scientific reasons. First, light absorption. Varying melanin levels significantly change how light is absorbed and reflected by the skin, which, remember, is the exact mechanism this tech relies on. Second, algorithm bias. If machine learning models are trained mostly on lighter skin, they're going to fundamentally struggle to generalize across diverse populations. And third, gender imbalance. Across the major testing datasets, there are consistently way more male subjects than female subjects. For instance, one major dataset had 31 males and only 11 females. Expanding these datasets for equitable representation isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a strict requirement to make sure this health tech works flawlessly for everyone.
Chapter 6. Future of Heart Monitoring. What comes next?
So how does this all build into the future? The next massive leap is what researchers are calling an adaptive scheduler. Instead of stubbornly tracking the exact same spots on your face, the camera will think dynamically. It'll have a fallback for occlusions, meaning if you turn your head or put on sunglasses, the system instantly pivots to an open cheek. It will use dynamic noise suppression to drop low-quality patches frame by frame. It'll even have resource awareness. So if your phone battery drops, the algorithm smartly limits the active patches to save juice, keeping your heart rate signal crystal clear the entire time.
And you can literally see the momentum building here. Looking at the trend over the last decade, there's been a sharp exponential increase since 2019 in the number of facial regions being analyzed per study. As our everyday devices get more powerful, researchers are aggressively pushing the boundaries, dividing the face into increasingly dynamic patches to get absolute, medical-grade perfection without ever touching the patient.
So, I want to leave you with this thought. We are literally on the edge of a reality where a basic webcam can monitor a preemie baby in the ICU without irritating their fragile skin, or where your smartphone can flawlessly track your cardiovascular health while you're just scrolling through an article online. When your everyday camera can read your heartbeat with this level of precision, how will that change the very fabric of everyday healthcare? It is a massive question and one we are going to be watching very closely. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you next time.